Today we will learn about Salesforce Data Cloud Ingestion API with a live demo. We'll go through the step-by-step process, a practical example of creating a schema file, creating a data stream, creating a connected app, and then ingesting the data using that API. First of all, we need to understand why we need Ingestion API because it's your gateway to bringing any external data into Salesforce. So there are two mechanisms, two interaction patterns I would say that we can use. One is streaming, another one is bulk to ingest that data. So there are requirements for each one of them. In case you have streaming, we are using a JSON file which can have a payload up to of a 200 KB data. For example, you are getting a real-time data sort of a capturing an event or a modern streaming event or a system built in. So then we have an ingestion API connector which pushes the data, live data into the data cloud. Another option is we have bulk ingestion where we use a CSV file. The size is up to 150 MB. We need, for example, we have a legacy system where we have a batch job running in off hours. We use that, or we need to ingest data daily, weekly, or monthly schedule. So from data source, data flows in and then it's batched using a connector into the data cloud. So now we know that there are two mechanisms of doing it, but how to do that? For that, we need a first step where we need to create a schema file. This schema file need to be an YAML file. So this is an example of a YAML file where you have the pattern being mapped, where the schema is given. These are the fields that we have, the objects, order item, Salesforce. Inside that we have a field. The type is mentioned, it's a properties. We have a contact name. What is a type? String. This is being created. So you should be comfortable with, you need to know how to create a YAML file. There are requirements for creating a YAML file where you have, let's say up to, you can have 1000 fields. It can be 80 characters. So this is how you create that YAML file. For our example, I've already created a YAML file for you. Let's go to Salesforce instance where we have a data cloud already installed. We go to setup, data cloud setup, and search for ingestion API. We'll create a new ingestion API. Let's make it live data. Connector name, we're just creating a connector name. Once it is created, it'll show you an error which says schema is required. So we need to upload your schema, a YAML file. So it will show you all the headers and the data type associated with that. We'll click on save. Once it is done, it's showing us a warning that we need a data stream. Now we go back to the home of Salesforce. We go to data stream. We'll create our new data stream. So in this case, we are creating a stream of ingestion API where you can use stream and a bulk upload data from external resource. Select that, click next, and select our ingestion API for that live data. We select all the objects, click next. Here we have to select the most important part, which is called category. So category have three options. One is profile, engagement, and other. So we need to understand category. In case we have to have a profile category, your data set should have an email address, phone number, or a consumer ID. It can be an account or account ID, basically information about that profile. But if you have engagement information, it is basically time-bound information. The data set will have a time series oriented, for example, event times, date time, date information. If it is other, basically this one is, if your data set is related to both profile and engagement, we use this option. So let's go back to our example. In our example, this one is order. Order contains what? Phone, email, URL, information about your profile. We have a primary key, record modified field on which this data will be refreshed on. So we have a modified date. If you click next, it will show us a warning because we have to finish all the other mappings. We go to order item. We select the engagement because it is more of a date time relation. So we go and create a date, sales customer. Again, this is a more of a profile. We select ID and modify date. So this mapping is done. We select the default database which is available and we deploy this data stream. So it's taking its own time for the deployment of the data stream. Once it is done, we'll go to the next step where we have to create a connected app and then we ingest the API data using our Postman. Let's do that in our next video.